Welcome back to Crime Podcast. I'm your host, Jay, and you're listening to Episode 7. Espionage, the clandestine world of spies and secrets, has captivated societies for centuries. Information is power, shaping the fate of nations. From Cold War spies to modern cyber warfare, espionage evolves. The digital age brings new challenges and opportunities. Cyber espionage is now a major threat, with nation-states and criminals battling for sensitive data. Ana Montes, a name synonymous with betrayal and espionage, seemed an unlikely candidate for such a treacherous path. Born in 1957 in West Germany to Puerto Rican parents, Montes had a seemingly ordinary upbringing. She excelled academically, earning a master's degree in international relations from Johns Hopkins University. In 1985, Montes joined the Defense Intelligence Agency, the intelligence arm of the U.S. Department of Defense, responsible for providing intelligence on foreign militaries and threats. At the DIA, Montes quickly rose through the ranks, earning a reputation as a brilliant and dedicated analyst. Her expertise on Latin American politics, particularly Cuba, made her a valuable asset to the agency. Montes's colleagues viewed her as a quiet and unassuming individual, dedicated to her work and seemingly devoid of any ulterior motives. Her unassuming nature and dedication to her work made her the perfect cover, allowing her to operate undetected for years. Montes's position at the DIA gave her access to highly classified information, including sensitive intelligence on Cuba. As an intelligence analyst specializing in Cuban affairs, she was privy to top-secret documents, assessments and briefings. This access, coupled with her photographic memory and meticulous note-taking, allowed her to gather and transmit vast amounts of classified information to her Cuban handlers without raising suspicion. While excelling in her career, a profound ideological shift was taking place within Montes. Disillusioned with U.S. foreign policy in Latin America, particularly its stance towards Cuba, she began to sympathize with Fidel Castro's communist regime. This disillusionment stemmed from her belief that the U.S. was interfering in the internal affairs of Latin American countries, propping up repressive regimes and undermining socialist movements. Montes's ideological transformation was gradual, fueled by conversations with like-minded individuals and her own research on U.S. foreign policy. She became convinced that the U.S. was the aggressor in its relationship with Cuba, and that the Castro regime, despite its flaws, represented a better path for the Cuban people. This belief, combined with her moral outrage at what she perceived as U.S. imperialism, led her to take the fateful step of betraying her country. In 1984, motivated by her ideological convictions, Montes approached Cuban intelligence. She offered her services as a spy, driven by a desire to aid what she saw as a just cause. Her offer was accepted, and she began her double life, outwardly a dedicated DIA analyst, secretly working to undermine the very country she had sworn to serve. For over 16 years, Ana Montes led a double life, operating as a mole within the DIA. Her espionage was driven by ideology, not money, to support Cuba. Montes used various methods to convey classified information to her Cuban handlers. The extent of the damage caused by her espionage remains unknown. By the late 1990s, suspicions began to arise within the U.S. intelligence community about a possible mole operating within its ranks. The FBI, alerted to anomalies in intelligence related to Cuba, launched a painstaking investigation, focusing on individuals with access to the compromised information. The investigation, codenamed Operation False Night, involved meticulous surveillance, communication intercepts and the use of double agents. As the investigation progressed, all signs pointed to Ana Montes. Her unusual travel patterns, contacts with known Cuban intelligence officers and suspicious financial transactions raised red flags. The FBI obtained a warrant to search her apartment, where they discovered a shortwave radio, a laptop containing encrypted files, and handwritten notes detailing classified information. This evidence, along with testimony from former Cuban intelligence officers, confirmed Montes's treachery. On September 21, 2000, Ana Montes was arrested at her DIA office. The arrest of the seemingly unassuming intelligence analyst sent shockwaves through the U.S. intelligence community and the nation as a whole. The arrest of a senior DIA analyst, especially one specializing in Cuba, highlighted the vulnerability of even the most secure organizations to insider threats and raised questions about the vetting and monitoring of intelligence personnel. Montes, facing overwhelming evidence against her, pleaded guilty to espionage in 2002. During her trial, the prosecution presented a compelling case, detailing the extent of her espionage and the damage it caused to U.S. national security. They argued that her actions had put American lives at risk by compromising sensitive military operations and intelligence-gathering methods. Montes's defense team, while acknowledging her guilt, attempted to portray her actions as motivated by her conscience and a desire to prevent bloodshed in Latin America. They argued that she had never intended to harm the United States and had only acted out of a belief that she was serving a higher moral purpose. The court, however, was unconvinced by this argument. Judge Ricardo Urbina, acknowledging the seriousness of her crimes, sentenced Montes to 25 years in prison. In his sentencing statement, Judge Urbina emphasized the betrayal of trust inherent in Montes's actions and the potential harm she had caused to her country. He stated that you were entrusted with the protection of this country's secrets and you betrayed that trust. The Montes case had far-reaching consequences for U.S. intelligence and national security. It exposed vulnerabilities within the intelligence community, particularly in its ability to identify and neutralize insider threats. The case prompted a comprehensive review of security procedures, background checks, and counterintelligence measures within the DIA and other intelligence agencies. The damage to U.S.-Cuban relations was significant. Montes's espionage confirmed long-held suspicions within the Cuban government that the U.S. was actively working to undermine its regime. The case also strained relations between the U.S. and its allies, some of whom questioned the thoroughness of U.S. intelligence vetting procedures. Montes's betrayal also had a profound impact on her colleagues and friends, many of whom found it difficult to reconcile the quiet, dedicated analyst they knew with the master spy she was revealed to be. The case served as a stark reminder that even those who appear trustworthy can harbor dangerous secrets. The case of Ana Montes serves as a stark reminder of the enduring threat posed by espionage in the 21st century. Despite the end of the Cold War, the world remains a dangerous place, with nation-states and non-state actors alike engaging in espionage to advance their interests. The digital age, while presenting new opportunities for economic and social progress, has also created new vulnerabilities that adversaries are eager to exploit. Cyber espionage, in particular, has become a major threat, with hackers and intelligence agencies targeting governments, businesses and individuals to steal sensitive information. The theft of intellectual property, financial data and state secrets has become commonplace, costing economies billions of dollars and undermining national security. The Montes case highlights the enduring allure of ideology as a motivating factor for espionage. While financial gain and coercion remain powerful drivers, the desire to advance a political cause or ideology continues to motivate individuals to betray their countries. This ideological dimension adds a layer of complexity to counterintelligence efforts, as it is often more difficult to detect and deter individuals motivated by belief rather than personal gain. Espionage, by its very nature, raises profound ethical questions. It involves deception, manipulation, and the betrayal of trust. While often justified as a necessary evil in the pursuit of national security, espionage inevitably forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about the methods employed to protect our way of life. The case of Ana Montes, motivated by her belief in the righteousness of her cause, highlights the moral ambiguity of espionage. Can an act of betrayal ever be justified, even if it is done in the name of a higher moral purpose? Is it ever acceptable to sacrifice one's loyalty to their country for a cause they believe in? The ethical dilemmas posed by espionage are unlikely to be resolved anytime soon. As long as nations, states and other actors continue to operate in a world characterized by competition and mistrust, espionage will remain a necessary, albeit morally ambiguous, tool of statecraft. The challenge for democracies is to find a balance between the need for secrecy and the preservation of democratic values, ensuring that the means employed to protect national security do not undermine the very principles they are meant to defend.